Hi guys, and welcome to another kit review. Okay, so today, as you can see, we are doing a review on probably one of the most iconic cars ever to appear in a movie series. It is 007's Aston Martin DB5. This one is by Doyusha. It is in 1/24 scale. Okay, and the kit number for this one is 0712800. And this particular kit we have here also includes James Bond and Odd Job figures in it as well, which came out as a separate kit at about the same time, 1995. Both kits were released. The figure kit came out under number 072800 as a separate, so I haven't seen that one around for a long time, but this one appears every now and then. Okay, so this one cost me around $60 Australian. Usually when the DB5 turns up, it is just the car without the figures, and that can run anywhere from $80 to $100+ Australian, depending on who's selling it. Okay, so as you can see, it is James Bond's 007 car. It does get the tyre shredders, extending overriders, wing machine guns. It does have a rear bulletproof screen which is operated by a cam device underneath, and you can make some alterations to open up the top as well. Okay, so there you have it. That's the box art. Lots and lots of promo for Goldfinger, Ian Fleming's James Bond, etc., Sean Connery. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of the box. So on the side of this particular box, you'll see the figures that you get, Odd Job and James Bond. You can cut the roof open to expose the interior. That would be the ejection hatch, tyre shredders, overriders and wing machine guns. Accessories to James Bond, which is his little sniper rifle and briefcase. This is your bulletproof screen at the back, and an overall view of the actual vehicle. On the other side, just the usual warnings in Japanese, English, German, French, Spanish, I think, and Korean, I think. Not too sure about those two. Okay, usual glue and paint not included, etc., etc., etc. So this kit came out in 1995. All right, really nice looking kit. Okay, so that's enough of me waffling on. Let's have a look and see what I actually bought. So open her up, and separate box with the figures in it. Okay, we'll have a look at those shortly. There's your body shell. So as you can see, all right, you will need to cut out sections if you want the ejector seat panel or the rear bulletproof screen. Move that out the way. It's really nicely packed. I do like this idea of just holding everything in place. Vinyl tyres, clear parts, decal sheet which has all the different James Bond number plates on it, and also instrument panel, dashboard. Okay, decals in it. Bottom of the car, that hole there is the cam which operates the bulletproof screen at the back. One big sprue, just the interior parts, and the other sprue is the chrome parts. Okay, plus what looks like a metal axle. Alright, so that's what's in the box. Color fold out of the other cars available from Doyusha, and the instructions. Okay, and that's what's in the box. In a second, we'll have a look at the instructions and the decal sheet. Okay, so let's have a look at the instructions. All right, so just a basic artwork on the front. Most of these instructions, however, are in Japanese with English translations. Okay, so seriously, building this kit, go through the instructions twice, make sure you've got the right parts and you know where it all goes. Okay, so let's have a look. Usual warnings, read this before assembly. Give you an idea of the English translation. It says consider succession of assembly steps. Okay, so the English is okay, but definitely read the instructions first, read it again, then have a look at the parts. Okay, you do have options in this kit, so again, there are parts that need to be, as this shows, scraped away, which is the chrome parts before you cement them, and also parts that do not get glued, or options. Alright, so start off with the wheels. Okay, and as you can see, these wheels are meant to turn. You do get 2 metal screws to fix them to the suspension units, which then goes onto the front. Okay, so these wheels will actually rotate, and I believe you can position them as well, because that's the way the kit is designed. Okay, so they're not fixed, which was really nice. I like that idea. So you can pose it with a little bit difference. And it's just assembling the axle area, etc. Next comes the steering section. As you can see, it says test the parts as shown. So you do test to make sure it does turn. Then you have the rear diff and suspension parts. You do get a metal axle for the rear wheels, so they rotate as well. Exhaust pipe, okay, drive shaft going on. Fairly simple, straightforward. Some of these parts are chrome, so you do need to scrape away some of the chrome so it glues properly. Seats, as you can see, headrest, etc. This is the cam which operates the rear bulletproof screen. Okay, so it's a nice little complex thing. Seats and interior going in, cam goes in, fairly straightforward. Okay, so dashboard, steering wheel, it does have colors, kind of, suggestions. Definitely, you will definitely have to look up photos of the actual car on the internet to get the colors right. You do have decals which go on here for the full dash, wood grain, etc. Okay, and then overleaf, dash, interior sections for the doors are going in. This is your armrest, which has the switches, etc. for all the gadgets. This is the section where it tells you to cut it open. So it's optional whether you want to have the roof open or not. At this stage I'm not sure, for me. And also optional for the bulletproof screen to be sliced open. Otherwise you're just going to have a standard looking DB5. Okay, then the clear parts go in. So the clear parts is designed so that yes, you can have the roof open. Body goes on. This is your bulletproof screen, and it literally just sits there. So I have read that it is very loose and prone to falling inside, which is going to be a pain if it does. So may have to look at actually putting some uprights in here so it just sits straight up and down. That's its operation with the cam. Then you get to the front bumper, and yes, that is a rotating number plate, just like the real DB5 in all the movies. Okay, then you just get the fittings. So you get windscreen wipers, headlights, front bumper. You have standard overriders or extended. You do have a choice of weapons, machine gun and what looks to be rockets in the wings. Okay, headlights going on, fairly straightforward. You do have decals. I've seen them for Aston Martin, etc. Okay, This has your color callouts for the backlights, indicators, etc., brake lights. All right, usual bumper going on. You do have a choice for the tyre shredders out or just normal knockoff hubs, and then you've got your basic assembly instructions for odd job and James Bond, and that's it. 19 steps. So it's a fairly straightforward build, but most of the time will be spent painting her correctly and making sure all the parts work the way you want it to work. Okay, so that's the instructions. Let's have a look at the decals. Fairly straightforward, fairly easy. Mostly number plates. This is your switch panel for the armrest, all the switches for the gadgets, and of course these are your dash wood grain. That is your GPS and your Aston Martin decals. Okay, fairly straightforward depending on which movie you want to model this for, because it did it let's see, did go in 9 different movies, including the latest one, No Time to Die. Interestingly enough, the DB5 was scheduled to be in The World Is Not Enough, but all the scenes were cut. And the only other thing I'll show you right now is this. This is the metal axle and the 2 screws for the front wheels and the back wheels. Okay, so that is your decal sheet and the bits and pieces. I'll give you a shot of those, and in a second we'll have a look at the sprues. Alrighty, so let's have a look at the sprues, and first off we'll look at the most critical part, the body shell. Okay, so as you can see, DB5 doors don't open. This is where your ejector seat panel is, and this is where your bulletproof screen is. Okay, I'll just turn her over. You do have markings where you need to cut those out, and it's completely up to you whether you cut them out or not, or just leave her the way she is. So overall, not bad. Very little flash. There is a little bit of flash, but I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I'll see if I can get it close and in focus. Alright, there's a line that runs down the front wings, both sides. And the same thing at the back. You can see the line there on both sides. And also at the front here, there and there. And just there, next to the headlights. Okay, so they will have to be cleaned up very, very carefully, sanded down and smoothed down. Okay, you will probably have to open that up as well, because that's way too thick, and that should be nice and open. So there's a bit of work to be done on this body before you can even start to think about painting her. All right, again at the back, as you can see right there. Okay, so those lines will have to be removed first. All these mold lines like this, and they are quite obvious, will need to be trimmed and sanded and cleaned up well before you can actually get to this, and even around the windscreens. Okay, so on the surface she looks okay, but there is a bit of work to be done on this body before you can actually make her look really nice the way she's supposed to. Okay, so that is the DB5's body. This is your, well, chassis, I guess you'd call it. body pan. Not much to see. As I said, this is the hole for the cam, which operates the rear bulletproof screen. Okay. Interior is fairly basic because you do have an interior that actually sits in there. All right, so fairly straightforward. Not much to see with that. So speaking of the interior, and I might just move this camera out a bit. Try about there. There you go. So this is the interior. There isn't much to this. There is literally, counting the tyres and the clears, 4 sprues to this kit. Okay. So there's your rear seats. That's your dashboard. There's your interior doors, front seats. That's your rear diff. That part there is your front steering. All right, so there's your drive shaft, etc. This is the cam section, front suspension, and instruments and pedals, etc. for the interior. So fairly straightforward, fairly basic. As I said, you'd probably want to try and do a bit of good paint work on this to bring it up to specs with what the DB5 actually looked like. Probably need a bit of texturing, try and emulate a bit of carpeting or something like this in the body. But overall, there's no flash on this, and it looks fairly straightforward and clean and quite easy to build the interior anyway. Right, so let's have a look at the next sprue, which is your chrome parts. I might turn that around actually, so you can see it better. There's your DB5 grille. That big shiny blob in the middle there, that is your bulletproof screen. All right, knockoff hubs. That there is another part of the cam. Oops, sorry, that went out of focus. Okay, so these mostly are sections for the, I came into focus. That is your rotating number plate. These are mostly cam sections. Front bumper, back bumper, wiper blades, etc. Okay, let's turn this over. There are your spoked wheels, and they are really nicely done. If you put a black wash or something in there, that will bring out that spoke detail really well. Those are your exhaust pipes, steering wheel, which needs to be painted wood grain, number plates, etc. So that is the back of the bulletproof screen. So that's why I'm actually debating whether or not to actually use it or not. Looks good in one direction, in the other. It's a bit of work to clean that up. Okay, get those molding points off. It will need repainting anyway because it wasn't chrome. It was basically bulletproof steel, so that will need a repaint in a steel color. Okay, so that's the chrome parts. Okay, and I'll give you close-ups of all these anyway, especially the wheels, etc. etc. So you do get vinyl tyres. Alright, not that remarkable. These polycaps are just to make sure the wheels go around. Alright, the tread's quite nice. So the tyres are quite okay for a 95 kit. And then, of course, you do have this one. So this is your clears. As you can see, solid side windows. So no, it would be an awful lot of work to be able to open the doors. Alright, but they do look quite clear. Doesn't seem to be any blemishes or anything like this. And it is one piece with those headlights, etc. in the middle. Right, so it shouldn't be too hard to fit that, and it looks quite easy. It's got a nice solid surround, so I can't see any reason why you'd have a drama getting that on without keeping it nice and clear. All right, so that is the car. And the only other things I've got to show you are these guys, Odd Job and James Bond. Okay, so they come in their own little box. They are, I believe, may have been sold as a separate kit because they do actually have their own kit number, 072800. Okay, so that's James Bond and Odd Job. It does kind of look like them. So let's have a look at the actual figures. Let's put the box aside. First thing I'll show you is this very simple bit. This is a display base that you can use for the figures, but I think you'll probably find another use for that somewhere along the way. And let's grab the figures, accessories, and the figures themselves. So the detail on the figures is really nice, although Sean Connery looks a little bit more like Mr. Bean, but I think a little bit of a tidy up. Probably the hair, and especially Odd Job. Okay, so from what I remember from Goldfinger, his hair was fairly short cropped, so use some references on that, but the detail is really nice and they should paint up quite well. Okay, I do like the detail of the buttons, etc. on his coat. Separate arms, of course. They will need a bit of a clean up. As you can see, there's a bit of flash on the hands as usual for most figures and on the mold lines. Let's have a look at the back of them. Nice details. Yeah, they should come out really well. Actually, that's a really nice accessory for this kit. And of course, you do get Odd Job's hat, James Bond briefcase, and his little sniper rifle, which was an AR-7, I believe. Way back when. I remember handling one way back when, and you wouldn't use it as a sniper rifle. Definitely doesn't have the range, and you'd want something a little bit more potent. Anyway, so that is James Bond and Odd Job and their accessories. And that brings us to the end of this one. So that is, I'll move this out so you can see it a bit better. James Bond's Aston Martin DB5. Okay. Yeah, like I said, it cost me around about $60 Australian. 124 scale. Came out in 1995. Still available now around the traps. If you're into James Bond, cars in general, Aston Martins, which I must admit I love. If I could afford it, I'd have probably a DB9. Been out of my reach, probably always will be. Anyway, stop me waffling here. There you have it, guys. That is Doyusha's Aston Martin DB5 007. Hope you got something from this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your subscriptions and your likes and your comments. Always appreciate it. And as usual, until next time, take it easy, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you later.